Hello guys, welcome to our YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Helen. If you are no subscriber, thank you for returning to my channel. If you're new, please consider subscribing before you go. Turn on the bell notification, that way you get notified as soon as I upload a new video. So today is a continuation of my miscarriage success story. If you haven't watched the first part of this video, please scroll on my channel. It should be the very video before this one. Please watch that one so you'll be able to follow along in the story. Okay, so I stopped where I lost that second pregnancy. The moment I lost that pregnancy, I was referred to see a consultant gynecologist and OBGYN. If you haven't had 3 miscarriages in a row in the UK, you are not allowed. The GP will not refer you to see a specialist. And so I wasn't referred when I had the first miscarriage. And so when I went on to have the second miscarriage, I had to figure out what to tell them to make them refer me to see a consultant, a specialist. And so I had to think fast. So I thought maybe I could just tell them I have had 1 miscarriage from Nigeria, and then couple with the 2 that I had here, then it will be 3. That way, maybe they will be able to refer me. And that was what I did. So I went on to tell my GP that I already had a miscarriage from Nigeria, and that the second one now made it 3 in a row that I had, which was it was actually 2, but I had to tell her this so that she'll be able to refer me. So I did, and then she referred me to see a specialist. When I saw a specialist, the specialist asked me for every detail, and he also, I think it was a she also had every of my detail, everything, every of my history. She already had them on her computer. Okay, so I told her every story again, and then she was able to follow along. And then she concluded, she did a scan actually. She did a scan, and then she told me there was nothing wrong with me. She told me I was going to have a child, but when I was going to have the child was what she did. She doesn't know. She doesn't know when I'm going to have the child. She told me how she has seen people with 29 miscarriages. She's telling me all of this because I have told her I have had 3 miscarriages, and then I am here bawling my eyes out and looking like I have the whole problem on earth on my head. And she, while trying to talk me out of the situation, that's when she told me she has seen patients with 29 miscarriages, 24 miscarriages, and they never gave up. They all came out with babies. That she's aware, she's so certain that I was going to have a baby, but she didn't know when I was going to have the baby. So when she told me people have 19, 24, 29 miscarriages, I started casting it. I was like, it's not my portion in the mighty name of Jesus. That's not going to be my portion. She had reviewed everything on her computer and all of the stories that I've told her. She decided to book me for numerous tests. She booked me for a lot of tests. Okay, so and then advised me not to get pregnant, and all this was happening around October and December of 2018. Okay, so she advised me not to get pregnant. She told me to try not to get pregnant so that by the time the results of the test comes in, she would be able to know if there's anything wrong with me at all, so she knows what to be treating by the time I do get pregnant. She told me to try not to get pregnant, but she didn't stop me to get pregnant. Like, she didn't give me any form of contraceptive, but she told me to try not to get pregnant. So technically we didn't stop pregnancy, but pregnancy didn't happen when we got back home. Okay, so but she booked me for numerous tests: thyroid test, prolactin, FH, LH, blood clotting disorders. Every test, every possible test, she booked me for them. And some of the tests were supposed to be done at the beginning of my cycle, in the beginning of my cycle, and at the end of my cycle. And so that's the reason she advised me not to get pregnant. The only test that wasn't carried out was HSG, high cause. That's the test to check my fallopian tubes, because there was no need. I was getting pregnant, so there was nothing wrong with my fallopian tubes at the time. That was what the doctor was dealing with. She wrote an open prescription for me so that if I did fall pregnant, there were 2 medications that I should go on immediately. So she gave me this open prescription with those medications and told me if I discover that I do get pregnant before my test or before she gets to see me again, I should just take that open prescription to the pharmacy, and then they'll give me those medication, and then I will start taking those medication as soon as I discover that I am pregnant. I am going to do another video that is going to be what we did differently in order to be able to get to stay pregnant. Okay, so remember, my problem was not staying pregnant. It wasn't not getting pregnant. Okay, so what the doctor was addressing, what the doctor was dealing with at the time was not staying pregnant, how to get me to stay pregnant. That's what she was trying to deal with. We went back home with intention not to get pregnant because I need to carry out tests, but then we weren't doing anything to stop the pregnancy. So if there was going to be a pregnancy, then it should have happened. In January 2019, we started trying after I received the mail. We started actively trying after I received the mail from the doctor to say that every of my test result came back normal. There was nothing wrong with me apart from I was slightly anemic and my platelets were a little low, but that was taken care of by my GP. They gave me iron medication to boost me. Okay, so that was taken care of, and so we continued trying. So January, February, March, April, nothing happened. And if I joined January, February, March alongside from October to December, that's about 6 months already. And nothing happened. We were not taking any form of contraception or contraceptive. We weren't doing anything to stop pregnancy, but it wasn't happening. And so I became bothered. And then at this point in time, remember I got married 2017, and nasty people were already sliding into my DM to say some kind of stuff that I didn't like, okay? People were already saying stuff. A lot of people were saying different things that were not their business already. People were asking me questions already. People were asking people who were close to me or my siblings questions already, okay? I became bothered, and so February, March, April, I became so bothered, and then I started loading myself with different kinds of medications, different kinds of Chinese medicine, concussions, and all of that. And we moved house, I would have had a very big box to show you guys that a very full box of medications that I didn't have business taking. I think I have only a few of them here right now, and I'm going to show you guys. So these are just a few of them that I feel like maybe other persons might need them, and I might be able to give them out as giveaway for people who need them, because I feel like some people need this medication. So this is Serapepsi. This medication, I won't be able to do the focusing. This medication is called Serapepsi, and it's a medication for people who have had fallopian tube blockage. Like maybe if you have tubal, I bought this medicine because I was under some kind of pressure. Pressures are from people of the outside, external people that did not have a business in my life. And because I was hearing stuff from different places, I started pressuring myself because of what I was hearing. And then I started taking all of this. This is another one, NAC. I don't know what this medication does. I bought it because I didn't want to sit down. I didn't want to sit down for nothing. I didn't job because I was pressured. That's why I got this medication as well. I think many of the medicines that I bought, I didn't have a business buying them. Some of them, I don't even know what they do now. I went on to buy Vitex. So I got Vitex. This is Vitex, if you know Vitex. I don't know what Vitex are for women who have polycystic ovarian syndrome. I don't have a business also taking Vitex. I do not have a business taking Vitex, but I went ahead to get Vitex, and I was taking Vitex. I also went ahead to get this one, vitamin B6. At least this one is quite reasonable. This one is vitamin B6, but a very, very high dose of vitamin B6. Who asked me to take a very, very high dose of vitamin B6? I was taking it. It was just pressure, and a lot of other concussions that I took, things that I don't even believe myself taking that I took. Things that I'm even surprised, I'm even ashamed of myself. Like, I'm not even proud of myself taking those medications that I took. It's actually because of the kind of pressure that I faced. That's why I went on to get all of this medication, and a lot of other medications that I took. So we went on trying, and then I kept going in and out of the GP's office asking the GP why I wasn't getting pregnant. And the GP would tell me to keep trying. She got fed up at a point, and then she asked me to try a particular thing that she tried and got pregnant with. She told me, she didn't tell me to, she's not advising me to take it as a doctor. She's advising me to take it as a mom who took that thing and got pregnant. Trust me, I went ahead to buy it, and boom, I didn't still get pregnant. Okay, so I continued trying, and she was really fed up of me, and I started considering, I thought something was wrong with me. So I was so convinced that something was wrong with me at the time. All this was still in 2019. So she suggested whether I am happy for her, because I kept asking if I could see a consultant again, because the problem actually was me not staying pregnant. But right now, it is no longer me not staying pregnant. it is no longer me not being able to stay pregnant. The trouble have already changed from staying pregnant, from not being able to stay pregnant to not being able to get pregnant. So it's now two trouble together. I'm not able to stay pregnant, and I am not now able to get pregnant. So it's more like my devil has multiplied. So I kept visiting her, and she got tired of me, and she asked if I wanted to be referred to see a private clinic, because NHS was not going to see me because I have been pregnant consecutively. So there was nothing wrong with me for her to refer me to see a specialist in that case. So she asked me if I wanted to see a private clinic, and I said yes. And actually, me and my husband were already having that conversation of trying an IVF. That was mid 2019. So she referred us to see a private fertility clinic. So we went to a private fertility clinic. Fast forward, when we saw the private consultant, he looked at my history. I had told him every of the story as well, and then he also concluded that there was nothing wrong with me, that for some couple it takes that long, but for me, that I know that it didn't take long for us to have those two other pregnancies that I lost. So how come it's now difficult for us to get pregnant? So I was envisaging a problem. I thought there was a problem somewhere. So when he told us that there was nothing wrong with me, that I am just being pressured. He asked me who was pressuring me, but I can't just begin to tell him who was pressuring me. There were a lot of factors as what was happening to me at the time. So I just told him I was just fed up. I didn't want to just sit down like that again. And so he said, okay, if I am bothered, that he's suggesting I do a high cost, the HSG. Remember, that was the only test I was not done by the specialist that I saw earlier, because there was no need for her to carry out that test. That's why she didn't do it. So this private consultant suggests that we carry out a HSG, and I mean high cost, the HSG, they are the same thing. So I decided to, okay, yeah, I told him, yeah, I was ready. And he smiled and was like, yeah, he can see the frustration. He can see that I'm fed up. And so he booked us to carry out that test. So we carried out that test, and he also came back normal. That one, you didn't even have to go and come before you get your results. You get your result there and there. And my husband sat down to watch the screen, how it was happening. You know how to do the HSG or high cause, the pump dial into your fallopian tubes and then see it come out on the other end. And it came back normal. And so there was nothing wrong. The consultant told us, yeah, some couple of people, some people go on to try, some people do the HSG, and 1 to 3 months after the HSG, they did got pregnant. Like, it helps them to get pregnant. So that we should go back home and keep trying. If in 3 months I don't get pregnant, then we can come back again to start the IVF procedure. But then when we got back home, we started trying. 3 months, 4 months, we didn't get pregnant, and so we decided to get back to IVF, to the specialist again, to continue the process. But along the line, I think I called back in the hospital, and I was not treated nice in that fertility clinic. So I started having double minds. So I spoke with a friend, Katie, and she has had an IVF before. She has a little boy of 5 years from IVF. NHS has a private fertility clinic, so that's where she had her IVF done, and so she suggested that I try that particular clinic. And so I told my husband about it, and then we decided to give it a try, and it was lovely. So I booked the appointment. I booked the appointment to see the guy, a consultant in that particular clinic, and lo and behold, it was the same consultant that I was seeing in NHS that I was now able to. Particular fertility clinic that I have just been referred by a friend to go to is owned by NHS to treat private patients like me who are not able to access the NHS fertility treatment. So we got to this place, and then it was still same gynecologist, same consultant that I got to see, or same specialist that I got to see. So this was nice, because that way I didn't get to start explaining myself all from beginning again. She already knows my story. She has my history already. So it was easy for us to get along, okay? So he went ahead to carry on test, did every test that he needed to do, did a scan, he did everything that he needed to do again, and told me there was nothing wrong with me. I suggested to him that probably I'm not ovulating. He showed me on the scan that he could even see on the scan where I ovulated from, that he could see where I ovulated from, and I'm about to have a period actually. So that there was nothing wrong with me, that I'm only pressuring myself, that okay, what do I want? He asked me what I wanted. I mean, he put all of the option, IVF, IUI, and medicated cycle. And so he told me, I mean, he stood on IVF, he explained to me everything. And IVF was not a new thing to me because I had worked with an IVF company for nearly 3 years prior in Nigeria. So when I told him, when he was basically talking about IVF, how we should go on to do IVF, I had already watched a girl on YouTube who used the medicated cycle and she got pregnant, like just one cycle of the medicated cycle, and she got pregnant. And her case was more like mine. So I decided, before I went to the doctor's office, I knew I was going to suggest that to the doctor, that that's what I wanted to do. And so when the doctor was talking and he didn't mention the medicated cycle, I decided to suggest to the doctor, this is what I have. A friend just did this medicated cycle and she got pregnant. And yeah, the doctor was like, yeah, that he has heard a lot of people say many things, that even in Nigeria, many people say they ate pounded yam and they got pregnant. I think he was kind of related to Nigeria. So he told me that people eat pounded yam in Nigeria and even get pregnant. So anything that I want him to try, that's what he's going to try. That he's not actually stopping me. He's not pushing me to do IVF, right? That if I want to try the medicated cycle, that he's happy to do it, but he's just suggesting that instead of going through all of those and then eventually they don't work and then you have to do IVF, that the success of IVF in their clinic was high, that I should try IVF. But then we don't even have money for IVF. I wanted us to start from the medicated cycle, then move on to IUI and then to IVF if there was need, okay? I didn't just want to jump to IVF knowing that we don't even have the money for IVF. And I was aware that if you do IVF, you can have 5 children at a time. You can have 3. What if we end up having 3? What are we going to do with them? Are we going to be able to cater for 3 kids? At the time, we don't have the money. We cannot afford 3 children. We can't afford 5 children. So why are we going on to do IVF? If we do IVF and we get 5 children or 3, we will become poorer, like if there's any word like that. So I don't know what we're going to be doing if we get 3 children. So I decided that we want to try the medicated cycle. And the medicated cycle, if you don't know, is a cycle is where your follicles are monitored by a specialist, and then they see how your follicles are doing. They keep monitoring them to see how well they are doing, and then when it gets to a particular point, they actually give you a trigger shot to encourage the follicle to release that egg. And that way you are advised to do a baby dance around the time that you were given the trigger shot. That way you are timing the ovulation is actually timed, like perfectly timed by a specialist, and that way there's a high chance of pregnancy. And I have seen a lot of people get pregnant by the medicated cycle. Like I just mentioned, I saw a girl who was doing live videos that I followed, a Black American who was doing live videos that I followed, and she got pregnant on a cycle, on just one medicated cycle without any hassle. So that's what I decided to try. And then the doctor agreed with me, that's what we should try. So that was going towards the end of 2019. So that was when I visited this specialist, and so we decided to we came back home planning for that particular medicated cycle. January was supposed to be my next appointment to see the consultant before we finalize, and then January of 2020 was supposed to be the next time I see the doctor, so that we'll be able to finalize our decision. We went back home, I carried out the test, I went on to do my own test, and then my husband went on to book for his own test as well, which was going to be in January. So January came, fast forward to January, we moved into 2020. I had done a lot already in 2019. So throughout the whole of 2019, I didn't get pregnant, and we were trying like it was our 9-to-5 jobs. Like we tried like that was all we had to do. So, and it was frustrating. It was demoralizing to keep trying and not get pregnant. And so at this point, I had stopped talking to a lot of people in my life because they were asking me silly questions that were wearing their business. People were not minding their business in their life. People didn't learn to mind their business in my life, and I didn't want to have such people. I didn't want any form of negative vibes in my life. So I blocked a lot of people. I stopped talking to a lot of people. So so that I can have some kind of peace in my life. My life was not being controlled by some kind of people out there who were saying rubbish about me, people who were saying stuff that didn't matter. It was not their business. People were calling me to ask me whether I have given my husband twins. People were asking me, oh, now you know born again. Oh, now you know what did they do? You know one born again. Now you they stop them. And all of those kind of silly questions that people were asking me. People were sliding in my DM to say what was not their business. A friend of mine who was actually a Christian that carries Christianity on his head, asked me if I have given my husband twins. Do I give children? Does he give children? If they were even buying children, I'm very sure I would buy better children compared to other people, compared to a lot of people who were sliding in my DMs to ask me if they buy children. They had kids. So for people who just, boom, they get pregnant, boom, they give birth to children, they don't even know what this thing feels like. They don't know. You have not tried to get pregnant. You just get pregnant and give birth to children. You think it's that easy. It is easy for you, but no, it's not like that. The world is more than your own cycle. The world is more than what you are experiencing. There are a lot of people going through worst case scenarios in the world. So the world is not just about you. Don't think because you can just get pregnant like what I don't know means that other people can get pregnant like that. No, if you have people who are married in your life and they are not they don't have children, don't ask them. If they don't bring it for you, if they don't bring it to you to discuss, it means they don't trust you enough to talk to you about it. That's why they haven't brought it to you. So you want to keep your mouth shut. You want to be quiet. You don't want to talk to them about it, okay? So leave them, give them that level of privacy that they need. They don't want to talk about it with you. That's why they did not bring it to you. So some people even went on to suggest to me to do an IVF. If there's anybody that should suggest IVF, you should. I mean, if there's anybody that knows about IVF, I know about IVF. I know IVF more than you do because I have worked in an IVF company for more than 2 years. So I know IVF to some certain level that I didn't need someone who doesn't even know, who has only heard the name of IVF to come advising me to go do IVF. If you're going to advise people to have IVF, to do IVF, have you packed money in their pocket, or you think IVF is chicken money? IVF is not to buy chips and chicken or chicken and fries. It's a lot of money to go to do IVF. So you don't just suggest IVF to people. Have you considered how much IVF is done before you go on to suggest to people to go and do IVF? Don't go around telling people to do IVF. Don't go about telling people if they don't bring their issue to you. If a couple who are married and are not having children or do not have any kid yet, if they don't come to you to talk to you about their situation, don't tell them anything. They don't want to talk to you about it. They don't want you to even talk to them about it. They don't want you to ask them about it. Learn that. Don't talk to people like that. Just spare them their privacy. Okay, so let me go on in my story. So fast forward to January 2020, and we were supposed to go on to do our IVF, okay, in the new clinic that I just found. And then by January 2020, the news of the pandemic has already started coming in, and then by February, March, so many clinics were closed. Clinics that do not need to be open were closed. An IVF clinic were closed. Fertility clinics were closed. When we couldn't go on with the fertility clinic because of the lockdown, I watched a girl on YouTube who used a particular tea and a particular tablet to get pregnant. She swore by those two things that it got her pregnant in 1 month. And so I decided, and her case looked like mine as well. There was nothing wrong with her. There was nothing wrong with her partner. She was only not getting pregnant. So she tried those two things together and she got pregnant. So I decided to order that particular tea and the tablet. I could find the tablet in the UK, but I couldn't get the tea in the UK. So I had to order that tea from the US. Along the line, when I was ordering for that tea, I was scammed. The first scammers collected my money, and that I still did not give up. I went on to order again. Actually, before this time, I decided to change my mind from praying for pregnancy, and then because it became so scary, I saw the amount of PPEs that frontline workers needed to wear in order to be able to go to work. And I thought it was so scary. So I decided to start praying for the frontline workers and then start praying for my family members and everyone, praying for the whole world to heal from the pandemic. And so my mind switched from becoming pregnant to praying for the whole world and what was happening in the world. That was what was literally on my mind at the time. So pregnancy was no longer on my mind. Eventually my tea came, and so when I tasted it, it was so nice, and so I started drinking the tea. It was just like 19 or 15 bags of that tea in a pack. So I decided to start taking this tea to see what was going to happen. And then the tea was so sweet, and so I started taking it because it was nice, not because I really do want to get pregnant by it anymore. It was because it was nice. So I was just enjoying. In another video of mine, I'm going to review these two things I took. So it might be helpful to anyone out there who is trying to get pregnant as well. So I'll put the medication out there. I'll put the tea out there. It doesn't hurt, so you can try it and it might work for you. Okay. The fact that it works for me does not mean it's going to work for someone else, and it's possibly that was not what worked for me. I don't know, but then that was what I took before I got pregnant. So that's why I said it's the one, okay? So when I took this tablet and this tea in March, I expected to have my period by April 7th, and the period didn't come. April 7th, I started bleeding, and then actually April 7th, I started bleeding, so I thought that was even my period. So I went on to do the needful. I wasn't even bothered. It didn't hurt me. I had decided to go on and wait for when the world opens so that we can do IVF. My mind was on doing IVF, doing my medicated cycle at the time. So I decided to wait for when the world opens so that we would do that. So I wasn't even thinking I was going to get pregnant. I didn't even think I was going to get pregnant. I was only giving that tea and that tablet a try. And then April 7th came. I expected to have a period, and I didn't get the period. I started bleeding. I did the normal thing of using pad, and then I expected to continue bleeding, and it didn't happen. So I went on to get a pregnancy test. I did a pregnancy test, and here I am in the bathroom with 2 lines, and I couldn't even close my mouth. It was 2 beautiful red pink lines. It was so like, I was like, wow. So this thing happened finally, and that was how I got pregnant. Okay, and when I got pregnant, we were excited, we were happy that I got pregnant. But remember, I had a journey that I had before of not staying pregnant, before the journey of not getting pregnant came in. So when I got pregnant, we were so excited, we were happy, at least we were now able to get pregnant. But then there's a journey ahead of us, and the journey is a journey of not being able to stay pregnant. But then, thank God, I already had my open prescription that was given to me pending when I get pregnant, okay? Remember earlier I told you I had an open prescription. So with my open prescription, I went on direct to the pharmacy to get my medicine. Remember, the consultant who put me on this open prescription told me she was going to be seeing me like more frequently, more like every week along the line as soon as I get pregnant, and before this pandemic. But then it's now pandemic and they were closed. So seeing me every week was not something that was going to be feasible. So I called the clinic to tell them that I was pregnant, and the person I spoke to on the phone was like, so all you needed to do in this pandemic is to go and get pregnant. Yeah, okay, that's good for you, but then you can't see the consultant because she's not at work. She's not supposed to be at work because no, they are not coming to work. It's not necessary for them to come to work. They are only attending to urgent matters. If it was not anything related to the virus, then nobody was going to attend to me. And that was how I was not able to see that consultant. But then along the line, I was able to get my open prescription of the 2 medications that she gave me. So I just went I went straight ahead to start taking those medications. That's how I got pregnant again after trying for like 17 months. I would end this video here, and my next video is going to be on what we did differently in order to be able to get pregnant and how I was able to stay pregnant. This might be helpful to a lot of girls out there who are waiting to get pregnant, okay?